Just about set for baseball here. Beautiful Sunday morning. Temperatures in the 60s. First pitch. Swing and a miss by Reed. This is a guy that has a lot of speed that we've seen so far. First couple of games certainly been an issue against opposing defenses. But Reed down the count 0-2.
Yeah, the Bombers have been more of a power attack on offense than the Grizzly have, but JT Reed is the exception. This guy, he's just gone on base and has wreaked havoc against defenses.
Reed up the 1-2 count. And now the pitch. Swing and a miss, so Reed down on strikes to open up the game. Rivas in his first appearance here as a Lumberjacks starting strong. Brings up Drew Donaldson. And we'll see what he's got in store. The second baseman today. Played with the Evansville Otters back in the Frontier League, so he's already made a professional appearance. First pitch, just a bit high. Try to get you through this Lumberjacks defense as well. So with Rivas, his battery mate is Garcia doing the catching. That's going to be punched on to third. A strong charge from Zinni Cola. He collects but throws high, and that will go off the chain link fence. Allows Donaldson to reach. Another one of those from the hot corners will finish up the defense real fast. Mason Carrier's at first. Xavier Manriquez at second. Joshua Wilson is the shortstop. It'll be Miguel Fernandez in left field. Eli Savitt in center field. And Garrett Bavacqua in right field. That is the Lumberjacks defense. And they will try to keep Mason Baronian in their parameters here, the infielder. Ball goes to the backstop. Garcia to chase, but not before Donaldson advances. If you're new to Palm Springs Stadium, something we've covered on a few broadcasts so far is that big backstop here, and it's definitely played a factor. It's a little bit different from the auxiliary field just across the way where a game's going on right now. A lot more room here, very tough to get to the ball as the catcher. But the count's 1-1.
Yeah, and it's kind of jarring for these teams when if you have a couple games in a row on the auxiliary field, that backstop is really about 5 feet behind you.
This ball is punched into left field. That will fall right in front. Fernandez out there. He flings it in. Going for the bag is Baronian, but he is going to be out trying to take the extra base. Had the single, went for the double, and that'll be the second out.
Yeah, I like the idea there. It wasn't really any hard hit ball yet. We haven't seen a hard hit ball yet this game, but that one just slowly looping into the outfield. The left fielder wasn't too quick to get to it, just threw it straight home. And trying to think ahead, Mason Baronian trying to be aggressive. He's a really athletic guy, almost had a chance at it, but again, the defense woke up, was aware, and fired a strike down to second to get him.
As Rivas pitch flies by Sell 0-2. Does look like the Lumberjacks have an arm going in the right field bullpen. But the 0-2. So on the ground, this will stay in front of Rivas. He'll charge it. Little flip to first, and that does it for the inning. So despite the error, the Lumberjacks keep the Bombers off the board. Keeps us tied at 0 as we head to the bottom half of the first inning.
Cade Flaherty doesn't need to go punch out the world. It's just the biggest test for him is this Jacks lineup because Kyle Goodell really prides himself in that team being scrappy all the way down.
Yeah, and Flaherty definitely has his work cut out for him. As Joshua Wilson leads it off for the Lumberjacks, the shortstop. First pitch down the hill. It is fouled off the catcher's mask and have an 0-1 count. So Wilson is in front of Eli Savitt. He's the second hitter in the lineup. Then it's Juan Garcia, Zane Zinnicola, Garrett Bavacqua. Mason Carrier will bat 6th. Xavier Manriquez 7th. Preston Walston in the DH 8th. Eventually Miguel Fernandez rounds out the list and bats 9th for the Lumberjacks. A little half-hearted swing by Wilson, and it's 0-2. Speaking of experience, Wilson, several years of collegiate baseball in the summer leagues and collegiately in the spring. Now punches that to the right side, and it's a base hit. Squeezed right by the glove of Drew Donaldson. And a good start for Oregon.
Yeah, nothing crazy about that one. Just a couple fastballs in a row, 3 straight, and each one got a little bit harder. That one, 90 miles an hour at the top of the zone, but he left it out over the plate. So a good job by Wilson, able to just shoot the hands out and get a piece of it, and you just need to put it in play. Find a hole, make it reach outfield grass. Good start for the Lumberjacks.
Eli Savitt, the hitter, in a lefty-righty matchup. Pitch comes in just a bit high at 89, but look at Savitt. He played at Union and Arcadia. As we also look around the Bombers' defense here, it'll be Rosé doing the catching. Andrew Allenson is the first baseman. Drew Donaldson at second. Runner goes, throw down. Is late. Joshua Wilson with a stolen base. And he appears shaken up too. Hope he's all good to go. Maybe got the wind knocked out of him hitting the bag.
Yeah, I don't know exactly what happened there. I'm not going to go speculate about, the condition of a player. It looked like a relatively clean slide. Maybe he hit the ground a little hard.
It looked like he might have just rolled up on an awkward spot of the dirt, but good enough to continue. And Savitt will also continue his plate appearance here with 2 balls and no strikes. Finishing up that Bombers defense real fast for you, Mason Baronian was the shortstop who ran over to get the ball. Shane Skelly's at third. Dylan Duffy in left, J.T. Reed in center, and Will Sell in right. Good position to be in for Savitt. 3 balls, no strikes. Lumberjacks team that's won and lost this season. The ball reaches the outside portion of the zone for the first strike. Flaherty, a guy that already, as we mentioned, was on the power, had drawn a start earlier on this Winter League. Now appearing with the Bombers. But he walks. Eli Savitt, and he will be on first base. Juan Garcia to bat. Played yesterday in the Jacks lineup. It's a guy that has professional experience in the Red system. Latest time there was in 2024. Bombers defense shifts at right side of the infield, a bit in towards home. Garcia goes after the first, ropes it just foul down the line. It's like there's been a lot of that. So in these few games that we've seen at the stadium, Steve, I think there's been a lot of line huggers and just balls that have just somehow found a spot between the defense.
Yeah, and a lot of them down the line, we've seen them change the complexion of a game, and especially when they're working long counts and they just finally squeak one through. The other day, the Blue Sox managed to basically put out the Lumberjacks on a last-minute double that eked through it wasn't the winning run, but it made the lead essentially what was going to be insurmountable in a 5-4 win.
Yeah, it's been that kind of day for a lot of these teams and a lot of big matchups that have been decided on some of those runs. Now the 1-strike offer. Garcia doesn't fish on the pitch upstairs. That's a spot I think he wants to be in yesterday, and a couple of outs produced when he had fallen behind in the count, but now in a good spot here, and especially with those 2 Jacks on base. They've now actually issued a walk, too, against Cade Flaherty, the starter for the Bombers. That allows Savitt to go ahead and take second base. Wilson's going to go to third. Even better opportunity if you're Garcia. Does not have the batting gloves on. And he won't fish on that pitch down low. I would say, Steven, though, the money count always to swing is 3-1.
Yeah, and especially after the balk, you've got both guys in scoring position. All you need is a sac fly, but right now there's a wide open gap up the middle.
Yeah, there's that lack of presence in the defense towards the middle of the field, but that's fouled away. Have shifted around a lot in this inning with those runners advancing to first and second, then second and third.
Garcia just one hit on the season so far, but he doesn't need one here to get the first RBI.
Oh, definitely a ground ball can potentially bring in a run. Big 3-2. Garcia gets a piece. That could also bring in a run. It's deeper to right field. The catch is eventually made by Sell. He'll try the plate, but it is going to be too late to prevent Wilson from scoring, and the Lumberjacks have the 1-0 lead. First pitch a little bit too high for ball one. And appreciate you joining us here on Ollie Sports, knowing you have plenty of entertainment options on this Sunday. Games rolling out throughout the next couple of weeks as well and on schedule. Monday through Sunday. That pitch gets fouled away. In fact, got the Grizzly playing over in the auxiliary field, as we mentioned, with the A's. But after this game, we'll have the North Stars taking on the Blue Sox. Find that action as well here on Ollie Sports Live. But here's a 1-1. And that punches the dirt for a ball.
I like that pitch, though. After a couple fastballs, the last one was up in the zone at 89. Goes with the curveball there, just barely below. A good take by Zanicola.
And now another 3-1 count. See if Zanicola wants to try and drive something big here. Yesterday at the stadium, interesting, Stephen, didn't see as many of the big hits out to the alleys into the warning track. A 3-1. Is ball four. Here Bavacqua now to bat.
And that's a tough sequence there after the breaking ball below the zone. A couple fastballs that it looked like he was trying to just hit up in the zone, but he missed his spot. He was about a foot to the left of where he really wanted to be. Must have just slipped out of the hand last second. There were competitive misses, but again, 2 or 3 inches off the zone, and he's not going to get those swings there.
Little sidearm swing to first base, and Zanicola slides back in safely. As you talked about, Stephen, on a lot of the walks, they've been deep counts for Flaherty, and honestly, a lot of the other guys in the CWL been just inches away. But this is fouled back. We'll see what the Bombers' pitching staff plan will be. I would say we'd average maybe 2-3 pitchers in these 7-inning games so far, but definitely depends on the day in terms of how the arms will be managed. And the 0-1 is a little bit outside. Bavacqua was a player at Lewis Clark State, but spent years at St. Cloud State in Orange Coast before then. Hit .315 as a redshirt senior in the spring of 25. Flaherty back in the zone with strike 2.
And Bavacqua's had a solid year. He came out here, got familiar with Palm Springs with the power this summer, and came back for the Winter League. He's hitting well over 300 on the season. He did start the game with that error, but he could make up for it here.
Flaherty down the hill with a 1-2. And got the strikeout as Bavacqua comes up empty on something inside, and now it's Mason Carrier. Good pitch for Flaherty to get him the second out. Would love to get out of the jam. Still those runners at the corners and Zinicola and Eli Savitt.
And it looks like Flaherty might have gotten away with one there. 82 miles an hour. Could have been a changeup. He hung it up in the zone, but managed to get away with it. Garrett Bavacqua couldn't get a piece of the bat on it.
Flaherty from the stretch. Runner goes. Big swing at the plate by Carrier. And maybe that helped in preventing a throw from Rasay behind the plate. Either way, Zinicola is going to be aboard at second with the stolen base.
I do like the decision not to throw it, though. I've seen so many times this season catchers have pulled the trigger and thrown down to second, and the team's able to take advantage of it with a delayed steal to third. And on third base, it looked like Eli Savitt was just waiting for that.
Now strike two to Carrier. And yeah, definitely a good play, especially if you're going to be ahead 0-2 now, to carry your potential strikeout in the works if Flaherty can get it. Here's the 0-2. Just a little low. And talking about catcher play, I mean, this is where it comes in if you're Jeff Rasay, because as we mentioned with the backstop, if that ball would have gotten behind him, almost assuredly scores a run. Flaherty shaking off his catcher, then agrees, and has a 1-2. Just fouled away.
And I'm not necessarily averse to making throws or averse to playing aggressive defense, but when you've got 2 outs and you're already down in the inning, I'd try and live to see another pitch and live to just prevent further damage unless you know for sure that you've got him.
I like that mentality with the 1-2. There it is. Carrier frozen on strike 3 as it melts into the zone. 2 strikeouts in the inning as well for the Bombers starter Flaherty. Game's at 1-0 with the Jacks up when we return in the second. And now back with the Bombers for this Winter League season. Nick Rivas misses upstairs for ball 1. But a strike on the second pitch from Rivas. It's good to see this tall part of the order with Jack Halloran on deck. But Allenson digs that to the right side of the infield. And Allenson able to dig it out. Little late on the cover is Rivas, the pitcher. And how about that? Allenson hustles out an infield single.
Yeah, Pat, I thought for sure that Allenson was going to be out the entire time until basically the last foot. Rivas, it's not like he's a lefty coming down towards that third base side of the rubber. He's coming towards the first. I don't know if he saw it or what.
And a great jump, too, by Allenson, as it looked like he was halfway between first and second by the time the pitch was out of the hand of Rivas. So a stolen base now for the big guy. And Halloran ahead in the count now, 2 balls, no strikes.
But it looked like there was a little bit of confusion on who was going to go for that ball and who was going to cover first. And by the time they made that decision, Allenson was already practically standing there.
And that's another note coming in here to the CWL. Obviously, everybody getting on teams quickly, don't have necessarily that practice time to really go over plays like that. So it does seem like there might be some more confusion than midseason on a college team or something of the works in the pro ball scene. But that is punched up towards the first base dugout. The Bombers clear. And another miscommunication as that just falls right in front of the dugout.
That one's a really difficult play on both sides, though. Between a catcher and first baseman, you know you're running right up on that dugout. And with how this field is shaped, coming from that catcher spot, you're competing with a giant pole before an opening there, so part of it is self-preservation and learning the field.
Yeah, difficult one with that angle, but now it is punched into left center by Halloran, and that's going to drive home Allenson. RBI single for the DH, and we're tied at 1. Definitely works out for the Bombers as Shane Skelly makes his first PA of the day.
And that's really impressive by Jack Halloran, 62 miles an hour on that pitch, well below the zone, and he went down and golfed that thing into left center field.
First pitch is out of the zone for a ball, so score update from yesterday's play-by-play and color man Justin Lee, apparently in the bottom of the third, 2-1 with the Canada A's up over there on the Grizzly. That is on, again, the auxiliary field just beyond the right field fence. See if the A's maintain that lead. Big cut by Skelly, and he doesn't come up with much. It's 1-2. I was going to mention yesterday the A's actually went up 2-zip on the power, but ended up on the losing side with the Winter League high so far, 11 runs in that third inning by that power offense. Now we got a ground ball, third base side, drops back to Zinni Cola. Throw to second for 1, but the throw back to first is offline. Lumberjacks will at least take the out, though.
Yeah, and that looked like they had a chance at that double play right there, but Zinicola trying to turn it there. I don't know if he got his foot caught on the bag. It didn't look like his body rotated completely around, and he kind of just whipped it out of his hand, kind of sidearm, trying to just get the throw quickly off.
And Rosé now scrapes that one back over towards third. A rifle this time from Zinicola. And the second out of the inning. As you talked about, kind of a tough throw from second. They also did mark that as going out of play, which meant that Scally was able to advance to second base, so he is in scoring position. Dylan Duffy, the utility guy, takes a ball down low. Got the baby blue bats countering the yellow and the red helmet. Bit of every colorway. Duffy from Arizona has played at Mount St. Vincent a couple seasons. Now puts that in the sky. This could be playable. And it is the catch made by Zinni Cola, the third baseman, with a lot of work over there at the hot corner this inning. Catches the final out, and we're at 1-1 as we head to the bottom of the second.
Going against Bavacqua and Collins, he threw in the changeup. I saw a slider once or twice. It was a nice job mixing up speeds, and he used both sides of the plate.
As Flaherty throws the first pitch that is actually in play off the bat of Enriquez, but they're going to call the out. Allenson able to stretch it. And that'll be out number 1 of the second inning. Apologies for the early audio issues in the inning, but as I mentioned, got the broadcaster honey on my uniform, unfortunately. But it's all right. And Preston Walston makes his first AB, the DH.
But that play right there behind the plate, that's a really good job at first base, just being able to get every inch out of really your body, just being able to stretch as far as possible by Mason Barone or by Andrew Allenson at first. It looked like there was no shot of getting that out.
Walston threw strike 2, and Flaherty, all of a sudden, really good position. Just got the first out quickly. Little weak ground ball, and now you're looking at an 0-2 count. And there it is. Right over the plate, strike 3. Dominant plate appearance there for the pitcher, Flaherty.
Yeah, that one was just 1, 2, 3 on to the next for Flaherty. Nothing to it as well. It was just fastball, fastball. Here's my best. Just try and hit it. 90 miles an hour up and over the plate. It was about as much as you can challenge a hitter as you physically can.
Now Miguel Fernandez with the swing and a strike. It's now a sticky situation up here in the broadcast booth, but the count at 0-1. Lumberjacks just looking to start a rally. Flaherty just painting like Picasso in this inning. Got strike 2.
Yeah, that one was perfect. I don't even think he had to move his glove behind the plate.
This pitch is going to be scraped up into the sky. Allenson, a big charge, and he had it. Maybe had lost his footing right around the time he went to glove it, and so it rolls out of the web. Talk about another tough situation. It's been the only challenge that these hitters have presented, I think, the defense, Steven, so far. They keep fouling it over there, and got to watch your step.
Yeah, that one was probably the easiest of all of them. Again, it's no harm. He's still at 0-2, but Allenson would tell you 100% of the time he's got to have that ball.
So we get one just a bit outside. Flaherty's still in a good spot with nobody on base. And now is 1-2. Got him with the half-hearted swing. How about that? Cade Flaherty, back-to-back strikeouts, and gets out of the second inning. 1-2-3 to the third, tied at 1. I love Palm Springs, California this time of the year. Perfect temperatures for January baseball. And the Bombers have a clear mindset here in the third as they have their leadoff hitter, J.T. Reed, take ball 1. So Reed earlier in the game struck out in the first inning. He's still facing Nick Rivas as that's fouled away. You got Reed, Donaldson, Baronian as the first 3 and minimum 3 up in this inning for the Bombers. Something we touched on earlier in the broadcast. Reed, a lot of speed. They want to see him on base. Got a ball outside. Apparently was a former track and field athlete, guy that could really run. And Rivas trying not to walk him here with the count 3-1.
Yeah, and Rivas so far this inning, I'm not sure if maybe it's just a little bit of a discomfort on the mound. Maybe his landing spot might have gotten messed up a little bit in the last inning by Flaherty.
That is fouled to the right side. Second baseman will glove it, which is Manriquez. A little short flip to Carrier. 1 down.
It was nothing major. It looked like the first couple of pitches in his warm-up and the first couple of pitches that inning. It's just there was some sort of inconsistency in the mechanics.
Yeah, definitely. And Drew Donaldson looking to maybe put something in the outfield here. He is 0 for 1. He reached on an error. And we'll see ball 1. Another score update from Justin Lee over on the auxiliary field. Bottom 4th, it is 3-1. Canada A still up. They've actually increased their lead. So looking like a good bounce back. Also says baseball more than anything else. You lose bigger one day, you're back winning the next. And Donaldson's chop on to third will require a strong throw, but there it is from Zinicola. And he has had a great performance over there with the leather.
Yeah, that was an absolute hose from third base right there. Zinicola had to get that out quick. Donaldson can run really well, and it looked like, okay, he's taking his time, but fired an absolute bullet down there.
Means Mason Baronian gets to bat with 2 away. You'll watch a curve touch into the dirt, 1-0. So far been a pretty steady game. No warm-up action either side on the bullpen. Earlier on, you had a little bit of tossing for the Jacks, but didn't appear anything serious. Another pitch that skips a bit low. James Rivas definitely wants that half of the zone. Another pitch, Zinni Cola, a magnet at third. Let's watch him again. This time the rifle is a little bit high, and it will allow Baronian to reach. Stephen, you almost feel like it was a matter of time. Eventually, you just keep getting that ball over at third. Such a long throw. That time just a bit high. But the Bombers will try to take advantage.
Yeah, and it's not exactly the easiest team to do this against. The Bombers can run really well. The top three might be 3 of the 10 fastest guys in the league. And down there at third, Zane Zanicola had to get everything into that throw.
So we get a foul ball.
It wasn't too far offline. It was just a little bit too high for Garrett Bavacqua, who gave it his best effort.
And it's interesting now on deck is actually Andrew Allenson for the Bombers, perhaps with his height, that extra inch or two maybe at first. If he was playing for the Jacks, that might have been the third out. But now we get strike 2 to Sell. Bombers got their 1 run in the second inning. They used 2 hits for that. Lumberjacks scored in the first inning on 1 hit. And another foul ball. So we're towards the bouncy house. They've got the slide. Stephen, have you gone down that yet?
I have not. I've set it up many times. I somehow in 2.5 years have not entered that.
Yeah, it looks amazing. The 0-2 pitch. Runner's going to take off, and right at the greatest time, too, as this ball is put into left field. Nice little hit and run action there as Sell is able to put it in left. Baronian all the way to third as he had the extra jump. And now you've got runners at the corners.
Yeah, we've seen Bobby Brown manage this Bombers team really aggressively. He's a big fan of throwing down a hit and run, or he'll try to bunt. He'll try and just manufacture runs. Right there, he almost got gifted a run by that bobble in left field, but smartly Baronian settling for third.
Getting the meeting here. Juan Garcia, the catcher, came out to talk. Haven't seen, again, Lumberjacks bullpen action, so it looks like a little bit of a just conference here.
I do like this meeting, though, because, Pat, when you're a pitcher out there on the mound, there's almost every outing you've got that inning that's kind of a hump inning. You've just got to get over it. It might be a hitch in your mechanics. It might just be a mental thing, but it's just how quickly can you adjust? How quickly can you get over that, and how quickly can you get through with as little damage?
Garcia to throw down to second, and he hosed him. Great throw to get out Will Sell. And that time the aggressiveness just a bit too much for the Bombers. As Sell is caught stealing to end the inning, keeps us tied at 1 as we head to the bottom of the third.
Because you're just chomping at the bit to get back out there.
And he goes with some heat for the first strike.
Right now, he's kind of in that flow where his fastball feels so good to him. He can just rely on that, and he's going to until they can hit it.
And that time went off speed and got the strike as well. Verdi yet again ahead in the count. And aggressive to Wilson, who had that single to lead off the game. This time it is right back up the middle, and the shortstop, Baronian, will not have a throw as it skips off his body.
Hard hit ball up the middle. It looked like it took a little bit of a difficult kick on Baronian. He's working towards that second base bag, but it looked like it kicked it towards third. It had to make an adjustment at the last second. Able to keep it with him to prevent further damage, but Again, it's one of those plays they'll tell you they're supposed to make, but it's just harder than it looks.
There's been some difficult bounces in the infield off the dirt as Lumberjacks run somebody out, I think, to coach the bases here. It looks like Ryan Wheeler is going to take a spot at first, the right-handed pitcher. Flaherty down the bump. Got strike one. Savit, another guy that sort of a two-sport athlete, was with the Arcadia men's indoor track and field roster. That was in 2025. We'll watch a ball away. Was a sprinter, had a 13th place finish in the 4x400 at the Plex shootout last February. It's much better than I would have finished.
Pat, you don't have a sprinting background?
It definitely not. Now it's still 1-1. Flaherty a little occupied with the runner at first, and a reason why as Wilson takes off, he's got second base. These runners have been very aggressive so far. Either side, we saw the Bombers end their offensive half inning in this third, trying to steal. Pans out for Wilson there.
And again, Flaherty's so locked in right now, just pounding the strike zone. Sometimes you might just forget to change up the looks on a runner, and right there just looked like he did. A perfect jump by Wilson.
And now a little half-hearted swing by Savit. Probably wanted it back as he goes fishing. And the throw down to first, and plenty of time on the drop third strike, so he'll be the first out of the inning. Brings us back to former pro Juan Garcia, looking for the chance again.
And right now, Flaherty going back to the first inning. 17 of his last 19 pitches have been strikes.
He's been dominant in the zone. See if Garcia wants to adjust for that. He has a sac fly. His pitch just dances away, 1-0.
And we said that in the open that, one, you need a quick inning just if you have a long one to be able to catch your breath and get back into the game to save the pitch count. That was done in the second. And also just throw strikes, pound the zone, make them go against you. Don't give them anything. And so far, Flaherty's 2 for 2.
Wilson running again. He's got third base. He's had 2 excellent jumps, and it looks like it's also been Rizeu's had trouble getting that into his throwing arm, but I'm not sure either one of the throws, either to second or third, would have been in time for Wilson, who has that speed and a great jump.
I think at second he would have had a chance, but that throw down to third, Wilson was maybe 3/4 down the line by the time the ball even got to his glove.
And now the Bombers' defense will shift in towards the green grass. Want to prevent a run as Garcia punches it foul. Have that early adjustment here, only in the third inning, but again, 7-inning games. Your Bombers are thinking, got to prevent this run. Flaherty agrees and has the pitch. And another pitch foul back to the screen.
And when you've got a runner like Wilson on third, I don't think you necessarily mind him going from second to third because it doesn't really change anything. He was going to score on anything getting into the outfield from second. All it really changes is just a sac fly scores him now.
Yeah, could try to bring him in again. Garcia already has that sac fly today. Now the pitch. Nice spot for Flaherty. Earns the strikeout back-to-back here against this Jacks order.
Flaherty right there. Again, he's working up and down. He's changing the eye level. He went a couple fastballs upstairs. Then he goes with a breaking ball away, pulls the fastball back in, and another breaking ball just down that goes right into the zone. But again, after so many heaters, he slows him down and it almost freezes you.
First pitch a little away, and you talked about it with that change against these Jacks hitters. He's now got 6 of the 8 outs, courtesy of the strikeout. And the 1-0 pitch. Didn't get the outer half he wanted. Still, of course, dealing with the heart of the order here is Zinicola. Garrett Bavacqua behind him, both would love to bat. There's the outside edge. It's 2-1.
And Flaherty, if he can command all of his pitches, he's quickly making a case for being one of the best pitchers in the Winter League.
He has plenty of experience in showing it here. This pitch is driven hard, right center field. That's going to be a test for this Bombers defense, and it will be a little too much. Sell will dive, but he is short of that baseball. And a big double for Zinicola. Takes the Lumberjacks into the lead, 2-1.
One of the first mistakes that Flaherty's made today, it looked like he left a changeup over the heart of the plate, 81 miles an hour, and that got a lot of the play. It was low in the zone, but right over the middle of it, and Zinicola did not miss it. 88 off the bat, but he just split the gap right there, right over by our RB roofing sign in right center field.
And Garrett Bavacqua with the chance, 0-for-1. Flaherty, unbothered, gets the strike zone there anyway. As you talked about, he's able to split the gap. A lot of outfield grass here, difficult to track that down. Pretty deep dimensions, 350 to the corners and 400 dead center. Flaherty pumps up a fastball, and it's ball 1. You think there's a chance we see Zinicola steal here? I know traditionally you don't want to make the last out at third, but it's been that kind of game, Steven.
I think if he can get any sort of a read right now with how well he can run, yes.
Now we got a swing by Bavacqua, and we did see that. There was another game, and pardon me for forgetting, already in this Winter League, a couple of guys running on with the 2 outs trying to get third. It's been very aggressive. Flaherty with a 1-2. That is just going to roan foul.
And Patrick, with how far off Shane Skelly is playing from third, it's not like he can't get to third, but it just adds that moving component. It adds just a little bit more complexity to that play in order to get Zinicola out.
Right now, Bavacqua trying to move him along anyways with the hit here, but he's down 1-2. And he stays alive, hitting that to the screen. He talked about adding that level of complexity. Haven't seen Rise really throw it to third yet. On the one steal by Wilson, he did simply get there without the throw. But it's definitely difficult, and down the line almost certainly scores the run. Flaherty's still trying to get the hitter out at the plate. He'll miss and even the count.
And especially with, I know you've got a left-handed hitter in Bavacqua at the plate, but we've seen behind the plate they're trying to throw down, and Rozier's just had a hard time trying to get that ball out of the glove today.
Ooh, a big drive, but that is fouled away off the bat. Bavacqua over towards the batting cages. Right now, a huge battle for Flaherty is starting to see a little bit of warm-up action behind him. As Matt Millett is getting a chance in the pin down there, the lefty. But a strikeout for now. Flaherty right by Garrett Bavacqua. And that'll keep the lead at 2-1. The Lumberjacks use an RBI double from Zane Zinicola to take the lead when we return to the fourth. 2-1 the lead right now for the Oregon Lumberjacks over the British Columbia Bombers. Hatch McCall with you. Stephen Buxton to my right, just game of the broadcast. Honey. Andrew Allenson will lead it off, but face a strike, and he's actually got a single earlier on in the second inning. As Nick Rivas, his pitch is fouled away to the first base side. Yeah, I do feel like, just as one of the guys, fundamentally with his size and stature, Steven, you're waiting for a big breakout day here for Allenson. Feel like that could be coming, and he's already got the single. Sees a ball upstairs.
Yeah, and Allenson, he's a really good ball player. Plays a solid first base, and again, when he can get a charge into one, it can go a long way.
That time will hurl it down towards his bullpen. Be a foul ball, but as you talked about, huge stature, standing at 6'5", 215. He's able to drive the baseball out of the park when he gets a hold of it. Wanted that result too that time, but comes up empty on the off-speeder. And he'll be the first out via the strikeout.
And it's not to say that Allenson hasn't had a solid start to the season, but he's just not one of those guys where you look at the numbers through the first 2 games or 3 games, and it's, a 700 average like like Sell has, or a 500 slugging percentage.
Yeah, it's big start for some guys, and they're all trying to find their groove. Halloran, though, will see a strike. And the Emory alum now punches this into the sky. And Manriquez calls off the rest of his defenders. The second baseman has the out in his mitt, and there's 2 away.
We've got an update on the backfield score. Canada A's finally getting on it seems like, 8-1 in the top of the 5th inning. First backfield of the game of the day against the Grizzly.
Now Shane Skelly with a little roller to Wilson. It's short and a strong throw. Stretches the height of Carrier, but he has it for the final out. 3 up, 3 down for Rivas, and we come back with a 2-1 edge for Oregon in the bottom of the 4th. Now Matt Millett comes out. First appearance, as you mentioned, of the season, a lefty to mix it up on these hitters. First pitch, though, is taken to left center field, and a good start from Mason Carrier, first baseman, who's on with his first hit of the day. See if that remains a trend. And these hitters try to work earlier in the count. Did feel like they had waited back a little against Cade Flaherty, who exits the game after 3 innings pitched. He had 7 strikeouts, allowed the 2 runs on 2 hits. Toss over between Millett and his first baseman, Allenson. That'll be Carrier back in safely. Now a swing, and it looked like Enriquez didn't want to go after that, but just reactively swung. Now it'll be 0-1, and have to see which changes are made. There are some due in this game, eventually for both sides, presumably. As we mentioned, we'll bring in those subs and let those other guys get their chances, of course, to work in front of the scouts and pro ball guys that could potentially be bringing them their contract. Millett with the 1-1. That is a laser over towards the dugout for a foul ball. Hey, one trend we've seen here, Steven, is a little bit off the field on the dugouts. Guys love to sit right in front of the dugout rather than stand on that top part of it. And that is a nasty pitch by Millett as he finds himself in the zone to strike out Enriquez, and there'll be one away.
And Pat, it's, what is it, 70 degrees right now in January in Palm Springs. Do you blame them for wanting to sit outside in the sun?
No, I mean, it's a beautiful thing to do. I guess you got to be a little more alert because you don't have that fence when the foul ball comes to you. Carrier maybe a little tardy back to the bag, but Allenson had to go leap for it, so he's in safely. This is Preston Walston, still part of that starting order, but he's the DH up there. Millett looks on. As his sign, now the pitch. Could be two as it's rolled on to third. Bombers get one. Skelly to second. Back to first on the throw from Donaldson. And it's a 5-4-3 double play. Lumberjacks had the hit, but don't get much after that. They stay up 2-1 as we head to the fifth. Rosé will lead things off. He's 0 for 1. And Rosé from Michigan, but he played at Saginaw Valley State for some years. This is still Nick Rivas, who finds himself in the zone 0-1. Speaking of adjustments, the Lumberjacks have not really had anybody up in the bullpen to replace Rivas. He's been in a good spot as well through those 4 innings, only giving up the 1 run.
And Rivas has been a really fun watch so far. Again, he's not really a guy who's going to blow you away. The fastball's been sitting in the mid-70s, but you've seen him slowly just integrate the rest of his pitches.
That one comes in a little bit too inside. But yeah, he's got a lot of in the arsenal and is used mostly off speed to attack these hitters. Has the 2-2. Rosé just gets a piece and a big skip off the glove and probably the spike of Wilson. It rolls into center field. And Rosé on first base.
Yeah, I couldn't exactly tell right there. It looked like it might have gotten a piece of his cleat, but coming up just hit right on the heel of that glove and shot right up into shallow center field.
That has been a theme on that left side of the infield. Some tough bounces, but Garcia now whipping it to second base after it gets away from him. Rosé, though, takes the bag. And a big jump to get into scoring position immediately for the Bombers. We talked about the aggressiveness pays off in these Winter League games when margins are close, guys going in and out. Rosé showing his speed off. He's now to second. A pitch high from Rivas.
And it's been an adventure behind the plate for both backstops. Right there, Garcia just, again, you said it, just whipping it, just trying to get it down there as quick as possible.
A little slow roller to first. That is Connor Donahue. Will take it himself to the bag and the first out. Donahue ends the day 2. For Mason Carrier, he went 1 for 2 as the defensive sub into the game. JT Reed will be the batter. Reed, the center fielder, 0 for 2. Also, the other defensive change, Xavier Manriquez out for Ita Chen. He takes over at second base. That's again for the home team, Oregon Lumberjacks. First pitch, little low here to Reed. Lumberjacks otherwise have stuck with most of that other lineup, or their starting lineup, I should say, but Rivas going to need a competitive pitch here to get in the zone, and maybe here, Stephen, worrying about getting a little too off speed. You put a little too much juice on it to that backstop. Could score the run. But this is a good result for the Lumberjacks. Another ground ball to first. Donahue touches the bag. Rosé can't come to score, and there's 2 down.
Yeah, and it's basically typical baseball right here. Connor Donahue, welcome to the game, and 2 balls right at you. They weren't hit all that hard, but again, you just get right into the game and have to stay alert, stay ready right away.
Scoots back the defense here with 2 away, but Donaldson eyes ball 1. He did reach on an error in the first inning. It's also a ground out in the third. And it's been back and forth, drawing up to a similar game to the 3-2 result. The Chill beating the Lumberjacks yesterday. This time they're ahead in this matchup, of course, by 1, but looking like it's going to come down to 1 or 2 plays. We get another foul ball from Donaldson. Rosé at third, still looking for an opportunity to come home. He won't get it there for ball 2 to Donaldson. Wind a lot more calm today than it was yesterday. Rivas searching the outer corner, won't get it. The big 3-1 pitch. And swing and a miss. Rivas got what he was looking for. Went off speed again. And the counts run full. Bombers actually have not walked yet in this game. Big 3-2 pitch draws the first walk as Donaldson takes a close one. But he runs down to first base, and Baronian will bat.
And that's about as much of an effort as you can give to just try and sell it right there. Garcia behind the plate immediately sticks the glove pointing down to second, emphatically trying to get the call that he went around.
Those runners at the corners, big opportunity for the shortstop. Does have a single in the first inning. Rivas wants the outer edge, won't earn it there, 1-0. Ronian also reached in the third on an error. No Lumberjacks in the bullpen for this moment. Baronian nails that off the wood to center field. Should be played for the third out, and is by Savitt in center, and that ends the threat in the 5th. Lumberjacks still lead 2-1. CWL 2026. It'll be Matthew Millett to pitch again, the left-hander. Looks like he's also going to face a new Lumberjack. It is Henry Lynn coming out. And Lynn going to step in place of Miguel Fernandez. His day ends, the left fielder, after a strikeout in the second inning. Have to see what else could come in as well for this Lumberjacks team.
Your attention, please. Now batting for the Lumberjacks.
But he will be in the ninth slide. Joshua Wilson will bat with him, and Eli Savitt as the minimum 3. Millett awaits. And now we'll start the bottom of the 5th inning. First pitch a little offline, and it'll be ball 1. You wonder with Lynn here if he can get on, spark something for the Lumberjacks as a guy that's just getting his first cuts here. Hasn't been too much production the bottom side of the order yet for the Jacks. But he takes a strike here from Millett. And now the big 1-1 pitch. Millett with a nice dance to that off-speed pitch to earn his way back into the zone for strike 2. One at the outer edge and won't have it. The count evens up. Nice Sunday here. Reminder, we'll be back on usual time on Monday. Tomorrow those games will start. The Blue Sox against the A's. And a big strikeout. Millett goes to the off-speed yet again. He's got his first K in the 5th inning. The Blue Sox and A's at 10 o'clock. Again, you can join us here on Volley Sports. Chill at the Power, although that'll be still here at the stadium. That 9:30 game over at the turf field is going to be the Lumberjacks, this team in green, facing the North Stars, who play after this one. Millett's pitch. A ball that's down low. Joshua Wilson, unproductive today. A couple of steals, actually 3 steals, pardon, but he's reached twice, had a single as well. Waves through that pitch for strike 1. Now the 1-1 from Millett. Another swing from Wilson. Definitely seems like this lefty is going to work a lot of his big breakers here in these counts, Steven, if he can.
Yeah, and again, on the mound with Millett out there, he's not throwing it. He's not going to try and throw it by you. His fastball sitting in the mid-70s. But again, it's similar to what we've seen on the other side with Nick Rivas. Just trying to control the tempo of the game, trying to keep batters off balance. It's all about arm angles. It's all about changing the tempo of your windup.
2-2 on the ground, left side of the infield. Big charge for the shortstop, and the Bombers. Baronian sort of flips that into the sky off the glove, which allows Wilson to get on.
I was going to say he needs his defense to be his best friend right there. That was going to be a tough play by Baronian with how well Joshua Wilson can run. He probably wasn't going to make it either way, but he just needs to get a better hop there, needs to be able to either settle and wait until it gets to the end of the hop or charge it a little bit quicker and get out in front of that hop.
Yeah, and with Savitt up, he's walked and struck out. Big opportunity with one away. And a ball is low. Little shuffling in the Lumberjacks bullpen. The right-hander, Zach Thomason, getting up and moving, a former Palm Springs High pitcher, actually, and that's, of course, just across the way. Looks like Millett just missed on the outer corner, then a fling down to first. A little bit tardy from Rizé, so it'll be 2-0. Millett's pitch over the plate for a strike. The Bombers, who get the day off tomorrow after this game, then will be shuffled back into the mix for the rest of next week. Little grounder back to Baroni, and the shortstop has a clean glove this time, and the fling to first is high. So makes the one out at second. Short misfire on the way to first, and there will be 2 outs.
And, Pat, it feels like we've seen a similar play to that 4 times today trying to turn a double play and just an errant throw over to first. It's been on both sides, the middle of the infields today, just struggling with throwing the ball.
Yeah, and Savitt, because of the throw being too high, gets out of play, allows him to get to second base. And Juan Garcia has the sac fly, struck out last AB, will try to counter that. Sort of a half swing there, but he still got some distance on it and fouled it away. Garcia from Columbia and up here in the States looking for another chance. Break into that next level. Matthew Millett still the reliever on the mound for the Bombers. Garcia got a piece of this and lays it into center field. That's going to fall. Savitt on his horse. He will easily score. Garcia tries to stretch for 2 on the throw, but he's out. Well, he'll still bring in a run and allow the lead to increase. The Lumberjacks now up 3-1 as we go to the 6th inning.
Had a couple really good outings against some of the best teams in the league, the A's and the Chill notably.
Be ball 1 upstairs to the Bombers' Will Sell. He leads us off 1 for 2. A lot of that connection between the power and Winter League play, but be a ball upstairs. Bombers, a team that have been mostly good offensively in their games so far. Put up 7 runs yesterday, 9 on Friday, 4 on Thursday. This would be a season low if they're continue with the 1 run. Three-0. That is roped in left field, green light, and sort of shook up the Lumberjacks out there as Lynn charged in. Had the wrong jump as it flies over his head, and is a double for Will Sell.
Yeah, I don't know what it was there with Lynn. It might have been just fighting with the sun in these early games. Sometimes the sun is kind of creeping over the left side or the right side of our press box here, which is basically exactly where the left fielder is looking at any ball. But unless that's the case, I'm not sure what happened because there was nothing difficult about that ball right there. Just a straight line drive that went over his head.
So Allenson eyes a ball, and Garcia will try second. It is forked down by his shortstop Wilson, and maybe just wasn't expecting to as much as anything to swing on the 3-0 count. But it was the right decision by Sell, who ends up on second. Now Allenson gets a little barrel under that baseball. It'll fly out, though, and be caught by Savitt out there, and his throw not strong enough to beat Sell to third. So Allenson does move the runner 90 feet closer.
That's good heads-up base running by Will Sell right there because how he caught it out in center field, it was going to be a difficult throw either way because of how deep he was. He wasn't exactly at the wall, but he wasn't coming in on that ball. Eli Savitt was, so it was a flat-footed throw that, I mean, it's basically all arm right there. You're not getting any of the lower body into that throw.
Jack Halloran up to the dish for the Bombers. And another swing and a miss, and keep mentioning it too. A lot of ground to cover, always just extra distance for these outfielders. Too, if you're dropping back for a ball at this stadium to try and throw somebody out. Be a misfire from Thomason. Garcia doing a good job to protect home plate, keeping it in front of him.
Yeah, that's a good job smothering that ball at the last second and kind of kicked towards the right. Garcia still able to stay in front of it, though, to prevent the run.
Now the 1-2. Thomason one to the outside, but flung it a little too wide. Shane Skelly still on deck for the Bombers. 2-strike pitch. Just a bit inside. Thomason will have a full count to deal with here, the right-handed pitcher. A little shuffling as well for the Bombers in their bullpen to Will Marriott getting ready. And Halloran will walk to first on a ball up and in.
Thomason had been almost exclusively fastballs that at-bat, so has a fastball up in the zone. It just missed the zone. He didn't get the call there. I'm wondering what he was going to go with for the next pitch. Maybe a slider right there. It looked like he threw a changeup, but just slipped out of the hand and stayed way too high.
Well, next pitch from Thomason to Skelly. He's 0 for 2. That'll be ball one upstairs. Now, also, the Lumberjacks have had one of their guys going down there in Cheng Wei Lin. He was doing that earlier, may just be a warm-up capacity. This ball flung into the sky. Savitt, the center fielder, makes the catch. What a sac fly goes on the card of Shane Skelly. Nice piece of hitting for Skelly to bring someone in. And Jeffrey Rizet will be the batter. He did reach on an error and would steal a base in the 5th inning. Step off does Thomason. And Wei Lin, the guy warming up for Lumberjacks, not listed as a usual pitcher, but if he does end up coming in, would be a big decision for the Lumberjacks, who still have that 3-2 lead, trying to protect here over the final couple innings. This one belted down the third base side and foul.
A lot of action going on down there in that left field line. Wei Lin looked like he threw a changeup that just kept diving away from his bullpen catcher. That ball skipped all the way in play, but nobody saw it. So as he's trying to go get that ball, the foul ball came right back at the two of them.
Yeah, got the bullpens in play here at Palm Springs Stadium. And that is just forked into center field. It gets by Savitt. He goes for the slide, but he does tap it with the glove to keep it in front. Now the throw to second is late. That all turns out well for the Bombers, who continue a 2-out rally. And now Dylan Duffy will bat.
It looked like just with how that ball landed and with how he missed it on the dive, that ball was going to roll well past him, at least 10 or 20 feet. So that would have at least guaranteed Halloran scores, even giving a chance for Reiser or for Rescher at second to score.
Yeah, that could have been really bad for the defense, but count will be 1-0, and Lumberjacks will have to be thankful that still keeps him at this 3-2 margin. They can get out of it. Duffy eyes a strike.
Just having the presence of mind to basically stick out a body part to block the ball.
So 1-1 is dipped just a bit low. Yeah, you talk about, I think he maybe even got that glove up at the 11th hour, I think, just to keep that within a few feet of him. And that pitch is upstairs, 3-1. Got to be one of the biggest decisions in sports. In the outfield, dive or don't dive for the ball. If you dive, make the catch, you're the greatest, the hero. If you dive and it goes beyond you, it's definitely almost always a nightmare. Now this pitch is swung onto the right side of the infield. Connor Donahue with an easy glove. First baseman for the final out. So the Bombers able to get something going in this inning. Strike for one. They leave two stranded. We go to the bottom of the sixth. Welcome back to our broadcast booth here at Palm Springs Stadium. That's to recall Stephen Buxton, and it'll be Will Marriott coming out here. So exciting times for these Bombers. And Stephen, not sure if you've seen him yet, but I mean, if you have, what do you think he needs to do here? As the Lumberjacks can definitely strike for some runs, but Bombers have started to get something together offensively.
Well, I think William Marriott entering the game just completes our bingo card for just different arm angles and approaches that pitchers will take. Marriott in his warm-up sitting in the high 70s. He can touch 80, but the real thing about him is just coming down from that low arm slot. He's almost a submarine pitcher, but it's really coming at you from that 9 o'clock angle. Again, it's all about deception with this guy.
Yeah, so Marriott going to come out of Pacific and the Boxers program, facing the Lumberjacks. Zane Zinicola, who eyes ball one a little low. Marriott had a 1.83 ERA his last season with the Boxers up there in Oregon. That was over 34 innings as well. An arm slot, just a nasty strike over the zone. That's where you talk about he's got something difficult to pick up on, the way he's able to drag that arm so low. He pushes this one inside, 2-1. Also pitched in the West Coast League with the Yakima Valley Pippins and at De Anza College. Now the 2-1. That'll be just off the plate, 3 balls a strike.
And I mentioned that it's all about deception. The tall 23-year-old out there has done nothing but deceive so far. 4 2/3 innings, hasn't allowed a run. He struck out 8 in his only performance, that being against the Power.
His next pitch is going to be tagged foul, left side. It's well out of play.
And when you've got a guy coming at you with such a funky arm angle, he throws a couple different breaking balls too. And it doesn't necessarily need to be all the way down from the dirt for some of those breaking balls to look like they're rising at you. Even a slider right now, if he gets enough spin on it.
Here's a little ball that spins to the left side, and a strong right-handed throw is late from the Bombers shortstop Baronian, but didn't look like there was much he could do. That was a perfectly rolled ball off the bat of Zinicola. Brings up Garrett Bavacqua, too, the right fielder.
Now batting for the Lumberjacks, number 5, Garrett Bavacqua.
2 strikeouts so far for Bavacqua. Still a very close game here. Anybody's ball game. We do play 7. As a reminder, if you're not familiar with the CWL, so last chance hypothetically would be bottom of the 7th if you're the Lumberjacks and you need that situation. Right now they don't, holding the lead. But one insurance here as they go into that top frame of the 7th. Got a strike there to Bavacqua. A lot of fans have found themselves parked up right into the shade. A beautiful spot to be right behind home plate. Enjoying this one. Now strike 2 to Bavacqua. And again, on deck, about 30 minutes after the end of this game, we'll have a second game for you. That'll be the Manitoba North Stars and Washington Blue Sox. Going to be Stephen Buxton on the play-by-play for that one. He is to my right here. 1-2 pitch, and that's a great way to carve him up for Marriott as he earns the strikeout.
And we'll get a little bit of a look ahead to that game. That might just be an early candidate for game of the season. The two top teams in the league, Manitoba North Stars and Washington Blue Sox. They've done it in different ways. The North Stars had to walk off their first game in an incredible comeback on day one, but the Washington Blue Sox, they're 2 for 2 on convincing wins so far this season.
This is Connor Donahue, his first plate appearance of the night. It's now before a check over at first. Zinicola slides in. For Donahue, that big first baseman, listed at 6'3", was in earlier as a defensive sub. Took over for Mason Carrier, but he sees a strike.
It's a little bit of a strange footnote. This is also the exact same umpiring career the Blue Sox have seen for all 3 of their games.
Well, they got him again as a steal. Puts Zinicola into scoring position. Great jump. Throw just a little to the right from Rizé, but might have also been too late for the swift third baseman, Zinicola, who stands in at second. His umpires in the CWL working as hard as anybody, umpiring the multiple games per day, especially at the stadium. Now the 0-2. And Donahue with a big cut, but he'll come up empty. He is a victim of the strikeout. Now back-to-back strikeouts for Marriott.
Just the second strikeout of the season for Donahue, just the third game, of course, but he's had a nice start so far. Hitting .500 on the season. He's got a couple hits.
Now it's Ita Chen's first plate appearance. Subbed in earlier at second for Xavier Manriquez. He finishes 0 for 2. Chen taking a strike. Marriott to the plate. And this one punched foul. I've yet to see anybody really barrel something up against Marriott, because Zinicola's single was a little roller onto the infield that was placed right where it needed to be. Definitely, as Steven mentioned, the arm slot and those adjustments with deception been a challenge so far. And there is another strike 3 called. 3 in a row for Will Marriott. He works magic to get the Bombers out of the bottom of the 6th in their last chance offensively to mount a comeback. 3-2, the lead for the Lumberjacks. Great aerial view of Palm Springs Stadium. And everybody getting into this 7th inning as the Bombers will need at least one run to tie it for sudden death. If not, could be the ball game for them. They got 3 outs to work with. Thomason to Reed. He lays down a bunt, but it's right back to Thomason, and the relief pitcher throws to first. And Donahue gloves the out, but Reed shaken up. And looked like an unfortunate situation there as Donahue just went to go cover the bag, grab the ball, and Reed couldn't avoid it. We'll hope he's all right. Yeah, 100%, and as well if they get this run in and at least tie it, force that bottom of the 7th. Lost your center fielder, but hope Reed's all right. This is Drew Donaldson, has the count 1-1. So far today, it's a part of the starting lineup, but he's walked, grounded out, and reached on an error. Thomason still delivering strongly here, but he'll miss inside. It does appear to be what the Lumberjacks would want to do, have him finish it out. Another foul ball again. It's been Cheng Wei Lin warming up here and there in the Jacks bullpen. The right-hander, if they need to go there, haven't yet. And we've seen him as early as that 2nd inning, and as late now as the 7th, getting loose. 2-2 runs high, and the count's full. Thomason, a long pause. Agrees now with Garcia. And his pitch got him for strike 3. Donaldson with the early walk. Instead, we'll have a walk back to the dugout after strike 3, and Mason Baronian the last chance for the Bombers.
And that was a perfect pitch by Mason Baronian. He had attacked the inner half of the plate a couple times in that at-bat. Goes right back at it there. It looked like it might have been a cutter just diving back into the zone at the last minute.
Thomason squeaks one in for strike 1. Baronian will get out of the way of that. Just to mention it here, he is 1 for 3 today. Did hit 6 home runs with pace his most recent season. Bombers would love that here to tie it up. Had 2 home runs in 23, a couple in 24 as well, so he'll get one out. Otherwise, you'll have to get him around. The pitch. He'll lift this into left field. That's going to extend the ball game. Baronian with a single, and he is on as the tying run. Now to be Will Sell. Speaking of 2 for 3 on the ball game, had the double, went around to score in that 6th inning. For the Bombers, got one of their 2 runs today, the other back in the 2nd. Thomas into the plate. That's a little low for a ball. Do you wonder, Steven, here, if somehow the Bombers put another one on, but maybe it's 1st and 2nd, would you question going to the bullpen?
I mean, I feel like it depends on how they get another one on. If this at-bat gets dragged out, if it's a long grind of an at-bat, especially if it's a walk, then I'd consider going to the bullpen. But Thomason's got a lot of soft contact. Really, that double by Will Sell is just about the only hard-hit ball he's seen.
This one lifted to left field. This could be it, too. Lynn battles the sun and makes the catch, and that does it. The Bombers go down 3-2 as they can't mount the comeback, and the Lumberjacks now move to 2-1 in the young season with the victory as we welcome you back into our booth. And, Steven, I think we saw another excellent ball game. We talked about it. Everything feels like it's coming down to it, and it did here again, just a 1-run game.
Yeah, I mean, for a minute it looked like the Bombers kind of had it in their hands. Cade Flaherty was just dominant on the mound. A lot of strikeouts, but again, it's just a game of inches. 1 run settles it here, 3-2, and the winning pitcher on the day is going to be Nick Rivas. The save going to Thomason, but a great game all around. One of the better pitched games of this season. A quick game, too.
Yeah, a very quick game. Couldn't have asked for much more. We got to see a little bit of everything. And these pitchers have definitely bounced back after those first couple of days. We mentioned the bats were really getting hot, working well, but everybody's had their chance to shine here.